You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Friday Review. Looking forward to diving right into today's show. Always enjoy closing our week together, going through all of the topics that we've been discussing over this past week. Also going over a lot of the research that I've been diving into and can't wait to share the relevant ones with you so that you don't have to pour through the research on a daily basis. You can leave that to me. I'm happy to share all of the things that are really relative that I want you to know so that you can take care of those people in your life that you care for. Also, yourself. You should be on that list as well. So I want to go through a couple research studies, and I would love to be able to share with you a simple at-home lab or that you can run with your doctor to make sure that you're taking care of yourself with this new change to the season. That's always imperative in my mind to make sure that you are doing preventative-based work, not just waiting for something to go wrong. Waiting for something to go wrong is much harder to fix, right? It's harder to fix it after the fact than it is to make sure it doesn't happen in the first place. But don't worry, though. If anything does ever happen, you're diagnosed with any dis-ease of the body, always do remember you are able to go back, rebalance the underlying root causes that lead to dis-ease in the body in order for you to lose the weight, to get well again, and to really age in a much more graceful and live longer, stronger. That's what the show is all about. That's what I like to share with you. And so today, what I want to do, just give you a quick recap about what we discussed over this past week to make sure you didn't miss any of those shows. The very first one, we started the week with using 3 resolutions or 3 solutions to be able to solve every problem. Now, it might sound like a lot of hype around that, but I'm telling you that there are 3 ways to look at every problem. You're not always going to be able to solve it in the very beginning. One of those solutions is not dealing with always being able to take care of it, but the 3 different ways that you can put your mind at ease in order to create a solution for that problem, whether immediately or in the future. Check out that show. That was on Monday, episode 319. Episode 320 was the truth behind how much sleep you need per night. And I broke down how much sleep a baby needs, how much a toddler needs, how much a child needs, an adolescent, and also as adults. Check out that show. It will tell you how much sleep you need and even ideally when to get those Z's. All right, episode 1321, that was my top 10 healthy and smart food swaps. So really simple. I basically said, don't eat these things, eat these instead. They're inexpensive, they're super easy to do, and they take almost no time to prep. Remember, eating healthy does not have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be stressful, and it doesn't have to be expensive. That showed you how. My top 10 ways to do that on episode 1322. That was the Toxic Thursday show. No training Thursday this week. It was a Toxic Thursday. And I went actually over the NASA Clean Air study of how they took certain plants into space to the space station. And they showed how they were able to clean the air of harmful chemicals that are invisible to the naked eye. Then I broke down the research, gave you the specific links to the study, and even gave you my top 3 plants to keep in your house, whether you have a dog or a cat, or if you don't, because there are different plants to actually keep because some are toxic to pets. So I gave you that. I hope that was easy. Hope it was quite digestible, that show. And today what I want to do is just start with and go over right now a couple things that I believe, I just want to make sure you didn't miss over this past week. We do our fall community detox at each and every September. Back to school for the kids, back to work. In the US, we're moving into the fall. Over in Australia, they're moving into their spring. And so, it's a nice change of the season. And with that, the body is looking to also reset. So a great whole body reset is literally a functional medicine detox. If you've never heard about a functional medicine detox, I can't recommend enough doing the rain barrel effect quiz, the toxicity quiz, and then also going over to episode, I believe it's 846. I'll find that for you by the end of the show. And then just finding out what is, a functional medicine detox. All right. So the quiz you can take is episode 846. That is the toxicity quiz. And let's see if it's 823 yes, 823 is the right way to complete a functional medicine detox. Tells you the differences between a detox and a cleanse and teas and those types of things. All right. So the nice thing is, though, we had people starting 2 weeks ago and we had people starting this past Monday. For those people who just started this past Monday, keep going strong. Today is day 5 for you, and I'm excited to continue to see your transformations over at CabralSupportGroup.com. That's a free Facebook group. We talk every day. I mean, literally answer questions with all of our health coaches there. It's free to join, and I invite you to join. You are welcome to. And then also for all the people who finished last week like myself, I ended late Sunday night. That was day 7 for me. Monday was day 8. We'd love to hear how you finished. And for me, I wasn't able to give you that last Friday, but I can tell you for sure, this has been one of my most remarkable and successful functional medicine detoxes in quite some time. And the reason was that over the summer, I'm a little bit more liberal with the diet. And for sure, we feel a definite change right away in the weather, the end of August, beginning of September. And my body responded really rapidly. I lost 5.5 pounds in just about 2.5 days, 3 days. And the nice thing is, if you lose the weight that you want, you don't want to lose more, you can always slow that down. For me, I just started to add a little bit of berries to my smoothie again, and that allowed me to get some more of those nutrients in there, a little bit more of those carbs. For other people, they could keep going with their detox because I know a lot of people are doing the 14 and 21 day for weight loss. Well, remember, the detox is about getting healthy, working on inflammation, hormones, blood sugar, etc. So what I do is I do it for health. Now, if I lose a little bit of weight, fine, I can always regain that. That's not an issue. A lot of people, they're doing it for weight loss. Okay, but remember, the body's getting healthier, and because of that, you're able to lose the weight and shed the weight to a faster degree. So always look at that. I just commend everybody that chooses to do that each and every quarter with us as a community. And to let others know, because we always have new people coming into our community, we'll be kicking off a monthly detox. Doesn't mean that you need to do it every month, but we will be kicking off a monthly detox for people to do and actually go through in the future, and I look forward to bringing that to you. Friday reviews are also about what we have coming down the pipeline, and I like to share a little bit of that with you as well. All right. Second thing is this. I just wanted to welcome and thank all of our new integrative health practitioners. This is their very first week in the course and in the certification. We are now currently closed, but you can sign up for the waitlist at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. I want just to acknowledge all of our new 100 members. It's very exciting to have you in the group, and I look forward to hearing great things from you in the future of what you have going on as well. All right, now I want to dive right into the big part of the show. Just actually one more thing is we had over 100 people decide to take the food sensitivity test last week. Excited to get those results. Remember, myself, our medical director, our health coaching team, we will be going through your lab results, and you'll actually be getting a call with us when those results come in. And those people who want to take advantage of a free bottle of CBD, listen to the end of this podcast, and it will be valid until this coming Sunday in the United States. So check that out. And again, just want to let you know, we are always working hard to get back online with a CBD processor. Currently, we can only give it away. We can't actually sell it. I know that sounds very, very strange, but it's part of the world that we live in. But we do our best. We really do. And that is why this is the only way I can figure out around it. You'll hear our details at the end of the show. Again, this is a limited time offer. It goes until this Sunday only. All right. Now, let me dive into my research. I want to go into, because I have some great ones this week for you. One of the items I was reading through this week was a way that you're able to cut your risk for UTIs, urinary tract infections, in half. So for those people that get chronic UTIs, there's a couple things that you want to do. This is very important. I talk about this many times on the house calls on the weekends where we answer our community's questions, but typically we see that women who get chronic urinary tract infections have also E. coli overgrowth in the gut, and you can find that out by doing a stool test. You can find that stool test at equilibriumnutrition.com, or work with your local integrative health practitioner, or work with a functional medicine doctor that specializes in the gut. The other thing we find is chronic yeast overgrowth or candida overgrowth, and you can find that on an organic acids test or a gut-based test protocol, and you're able to look at that. So those are musts, because if not, you could be potentially just dealing with recurring and recurrent UTIs, we'll call them for the rest of the show, UTIs, urinary tract infections, over and over and over. So I always want to look towards the root cause and be able to seal up any leaky gut or E. coli overgrowth or bacterial overgrowth or yeast overgrowth. So I want to look at those labs, but also I want to share with you some of what the study showed. So very interesting, and I'm going to read it to you. Women who had frequent urinary tract infections and drank 6 more cups of water daily were 48% less likely to have another UTI versus the women who had been drinking about 4 cups of fluid before the study. And the water drinkers were able to reduce their use of antibiotics by 47%. Fluid intake may reduce UTI risk by preventing bacteria from adhering to the bladder and reducing overall bacterial concentration. This was led by Thomas Houghton, who's a medical doctor and clinical director and Division of Infectious Diseases at the University Miami School of Medicine, and co-author of a study of 100 premenopausal women who had at least 3 UTIs in the previous year. All right, so there you go. This study, obviously quite clinically valid, I believe, reduced UTIs by essentially 50% by drinking 6 more cups of water. But look, how many cups do they drink for the day? About 10, right? 10 cups of water. So go back to the podcast that I just did. Remember, each of these podcasts build upon each other. And that's why if you can listen daily, I try to keep it to 25 minutes, try to keep it manageable. You get a little bit more information every single day. And remember, the information may not be for you, but do you know someone in your life who gets recurring UTIs? If so, share the show with them. Now, I talked about how much water to drink, and it's always, it's time flies by, but I believe, let me see where I did this for you. Episode 1300. So again, time does fly by. Today is episode 1323, and episode 1300, 23 shows ago. It seems like it was literally yesterday. I went over the exact times to drink water during the day and also how much. And you'll see it's right around 10 cups per day. So check that out. I tell you how much based on your weight, when to drink away from meals or before a meal. I tell you how that is on episode 1300. Please do check that out, because if you're drinking 10 cups of water now, I don't think that you should go up to 16 cups per day, right? So let's be realistic with this. We want to look at this from a multifaceted approach. Also, check out the healthy urinary tract protocol that we do have at equilibriumnutrition.com. I mean, this is something that I've used for years in my practice. And I'll just let you know what it is, but I'm not going to break down the protocol for you today. We use citricidal drops. We also use ascorbic acid. Remember, ascorbic acid not alkalizing, because the acidity from that ascorbic acid actually helps to acidify the urine and wipe out a lot of that bacteria as well. And then the last part is the D-mannose, and we have a very specific type of D-mannose that we use and a specific dosage as well. So those 3 work remarkable, and it's pretty simple. The citricidal kills bacteria. 23 clinical studies behind it, as well as a lot of antifungal as well. And then the D-mannose helps to unlock that bacteria from clinging to the bladder, and the ascorbic acid helps to acidify the urine, allowing that bacteria to be washed away, because the ascorbic acid is powder that you're taking with a lot of water. So it's very simple. It's very straightforward. And again, we use this to maintain that healthy urinary tract protocol. Keep in mind, I am not telling you how to diagnose, cure, or treat any disease on a podcast or anything I do. That is not within my scope, nor do I say that I preach and practice that. Okay, so that is what we do. Check that out. We'll link it up today. Head on over to stephencabral.com/1323. That's today's show notes. All right. I was going to bring you a study on Parkinson's. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring you that next week because I want to lead into one today. I always have so much research that I want to bring you, but I want to give you one today on vitamin D. Now, the reason why I want to go over one on vitamin D is it's that time of the season, right? It's that time of the year, especially in Europe, especially in the US, that we want to make sure that we are taking our vitamin C, all right? Most people right now, they're not out in the sun enough. They're not getting a full-body tan multiple days per week, more days than not. So their vitamin D levels are not going to be optimal. Even for those people during the summer, we find that most people do not have optimal vitamin D. Well, let me give you the exact dosage again. Let me give you the blood work to run. And let me give you a little bit of more research behind this. Again, you will never be at a loss to find research on vitamin D. But here is the remarkable thing about conventional medicine. A lot of health insurance agencies have stopped paying for vitamin D testing, which, yes, I know is insane because vitamin D is used to keep your immune system healthy. It's also used to get calcium into your bones. Very, very important. It's used to regulate healthy pulmonary and blood pressure, arteries. It's vital for hundreds of processes in the body. That's what vitamin D is used as. It can be used as a hormone. It can be used as a vitamin. It can be used as an enzyme, basically, to help things work better. So here's the thing, though. This happens right from birth, and this is why kids need vitamin D too. But I want to read a little bit to you and then give you my take on it. All right. Title of the article, Low Vitamin D at Birth Raises Risk of Higher Blood Pressure in Kids. So, vitamin D deficiency from birth to early childhood was associated with an increased risk of elevated blood pressure in later childhood and adolescence, according to new research in the American Heart Association journal, Hypertension. Researchers followed 775 children from birth to age 18 at the Boston Medical Center, which, by the way, is a half-mile away from my office. Most lived in a low-income urban area. About 68% of the children were African American. Low vitamin D levels were defined as less than 11 nanograms per milliliter in cord blood at birth and less than 25 nanograms per milliliter in child's blood during early childhood, compared to children who were born with adequate vitamin D levels. Children born with low levels of vitamin D had approximately 60% higher risk of elevated systolic blood pressure between the ages of 6 and 18. Children who had persistently low levels of vitamin D through early childhood had double the risk of systolic blood pressure between the ages of 3 and 18. Okay, I'm going to move off the study for a second and give you a little take on this. Now, not only are children really never ever tested for their vitamin D, most children don't get any foods that are high enough in vitamin D that would actually significantly raise their vitamin D, and they don't take nutritional supplements. So we have a host of children who were born with low vitamin D mothers, and they were low vitamin D at birth, and now they have higher levels of blood pressure, which can also lead to cardiovascular disease. So now we have a generation of children, by the way, it's many generations of children, they're just showing this now, that have two of the top causes for mortality or an early death, which are cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, and high blood pressure, stroke. So this is why it's simply critical that you begin to look at your overall health and that of your children's. Disease does not happen overnight. What are we looking at in the study? Well, we're looking at drastically low levels of vitamin D that do affect the immune system. They affect the bones. Later in life with osteoporosis, but also bone growth right now as a child. So this is why we have to take our health into our own hands. It's not an option anymore. Medical doctors are not even seeing the research that I read unless they are taking the time to do that, and much of the time they aren't. And the reason is that it's not clinically applicable for them. Remember, your medical doctor a lot of times doesn't even run your vitamin D. When they look at the lab, it's between like 20 and 100 nanograms per deciliter. So the range is so huge, it's not even optimal, per milliliter. And when the ideal range, that's why I want to give you now this today, the ideal range for you and your children is 50 to 70 nanograms per milliliter. And a lot of people are moving towards 50 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. But no matter what, it's not below 50. So when you get down to 11 or you get down to 25 nanograms per milliliter, that's just the number that you get on your lab. It's so low. It's already affecting your overall health in both your mind and your body. I can't recommend enough that women, pregnant or not, get those vitamin D levels up, men as well, and also for children. children need vitamin D if they are not maintaining a tan as well, and they should also have their vitamin D levels checked. You can check it with your local PCP, your primary care. Just say, when you run my child's annual blood work, run their vitamin D. And if it's not optimal, well, that just means that you're going to have to supplement. That's just the way that it is, because most of the vitamin D foods that you're eating, you're just not going to get the full vitamin D, meaning like, are you getting enough vitamin D from eggs? Or if you eat fish, does it actually have the bones in there, right? The little tiny bones. Most kids aren't going to eat those, right? Or fortified milk products. But fortified milk products are vitamin D too, and I do not want to put a toxic form of vitamin D into your body. So my suggestion is a good quality vitamin D3. I've talked about that on a previous podcast. We will link that podcast up at stevencabral.com/1323 today. And that will be on, I'm actually going to put it right in here for my team. And that's going to be on how much vitamin D that you need for a child, how much you need for an adult. But you should listen to the whole podcast. I give you, the lab testing, all of those different things. The lab test is simply called 25-hydroxy vitamin D. All your PCP will know what it is if you ask them to run it. We run it on our thyroid adrenal hormone lab. It's already included with that. It's a great add-on that we do for everyone, because if you're having difficulty with your thyroid, if you're having difficulty with stress, if you're having difficulty losing weight, if you're having difficulty with blood sugar regulation, you need to optimize your vitamin D. Crucial, crucial, crucial. Most people need about 35 IUs per pound of body weight. You can round up, you can round down. You don't need to take in just 4,150 milligrams or IUs per day. You can simply round. The metric is changing for vitamin D. So just to make things a little bit more confusing, the USDA for dietary supplements is moving away from the international unit, the IU, and they're switching over to milligrams or micrograms to make things a little bit more, I don't know if it makes it easier or not, but at least standardized. So your vitamin A, you'll see switching over. You'll see your vitamin D, your vitamin E, all of those fat-soluble will be switching from international units to milligrams or micrograms. So don't be surprised on the back of our Equilibrium Nutrition products that you see the switch as well. It's still the same dosage, but it's in milligrams or micrograms. Approximately 1 IU of vitamin D, so most adults need about 4,000 to 5,000 IUs. We'll switch over to, 1 IU is the equivalent of 0.025 micrograms. So you'll see the switch into milligrams. Don't be alarmed. It's just a different unit of measurements. Nothing has really changed, and it's pretty straightforward as well. Hopefully that was helpful. These are 2 great research studies just showing how vitamins really do matter. Most people are deficient in vitamin D, and it could cause blood pressure dysregulation, cardiovascular risk, osteoporotic-based issues. Super important. And simply by doing something as easy as increasing water to about 10 glasses per day could cut your chance for urinary tract infections by 50%. All right, that is it for the research on today's show. I am going to bring back the product reviews starting next week again. It's just right now I'm testing out literally so many different new products. We just made our little move in the city, so I'm testing out a lot of new things for our new place. I'll be giving you green and clean organic mattress recommendations. I just have to test that out for a bit before I give you my recommendation. I'll be giving you one of the cleanest versions of tea out there that you can be drinking. What else do I have? Well, we've been cranking our IQ Air. I've already mentioned that before. That is the, without a doubt, top-of-the-line air filter for your house. So the new place we moved into has a rug in each of the bedrooms. And so we've been cranking that to make sure that that's clean. So lots of great product reviews coming very, very soon. Cleaning products that we use, that we'll be using for our new place too. So definitely stay tuned. More product reviews to come. That's it for today's Friday review. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you also check out this weekend's Cabral House Calls. That is where I answer your questions, our community's questions, each and every weekend. And we've been doing that now for almost 4 years. We're going to find out how many questions we've answered very, very soon. I'm going to ask my team. It's thousands and thousands of questions, something I love doing. So thank you so much for joining in. Feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.